So we are now live and we're going to get started with coding an escape room. So I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but if you have a computer that can run Zoom and another tab, you can go to elementary.io. If you haven't created an account already, you can do so. You can do so for free. And then you just click on the right button and you can follow along with me. Okay, so we have Kendra, who likes reading and coding. What grade is 11? What grade? I don't even know what years to grade. Okay, well, that's good. We're gonna get started with this then. Okay, so on elementary, you can get started with creating a nice, page. You could call it an escape room. You could give it a very dramatic name, put a fancy font to it, all of that stuff. So I'm assuming that you guys are kind of familiar maybe with Google Slides, maybe, or like PowerPoint. It looks kind of similar. You can go ahead and change the font and make it all fancy. So I'm going to go ahead and find a nice font that I like. Oh, there we go. Cherry Schwash, whatever that font is. Let's go with something like this. Okay. So the main thing is, okay, so we have a lot of people who've done Scratch before, code.org before, and coding on elementary is a little bit different from that. So we're going to go ahead and check it out in a few seconds. But for right now, I just want you guys to be a little bit familiar with how to add things onto the page. It'll be the, the speed run version. On the right-hand side, you have different tabs. You can go ahead and add different text objects, speech bubbles, etc. Then you have images, and here you can find all sorts of beautiful images. Anyone anime fans? You like anime? Anybody? Okay, we have some anime fans here. So we have some anime characters. Like we have like this like super stoic, Yep. What's your question, dear? Uh-huh. Okay, how do I get there? Okay, so for people who are confused, you will log in. It'll look something like this. You click on the right button at the top. It's orange. Click on that. Click on write a new story, the big plus sign. Are we in? Okay. Anybody else have questions? Yeah, if you have questions. What? Okay. If you have questions, just unmute yourself, type in chat, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my story here where I have I'm regretting this font, so I'm going to move it back. And I was showing you all the different elements on elementary that you can use. So we have images, we have different backgrounds. So maybe I want a forest. Or maybe I want, oh, this looks kind of cool. I'm going to add that. Okay. You can add different backgrounds and you can do fun stuff with that. The next thing is sounds. You can add different sounds in, sound effects as well. You can also record your own voiceovers if you want. So you can have fun with that. If you want to add some sort of a speech or your own sound effect, go ahead and do that. Animations, when you go to elementary for the first time, you'll probably see a tutorial like how to make your dragonfly or something like that. And then that uses the animation tab here. I think the only thing that's kind of cool that people kind of don't really know is this girl here or the boy. You can customize them, so you can like give them different clothing and hairstyle and stuff. So that's pretty cool if you want to do stuff with that. But I don't really feel like using her. And we have shapes. So shapes, you have, squares, circles, rectangles, things like that. Squares are really useful. We'll be using them a lot to format our text to make it easier to read. And finally, well, not finally, but almost finally, we have widgets. So widgets are what we're going to be using all the time in our escape rooms. So escape rooms will probably have buttons of some sort. to navigate to different pages, and we will want to have a text field sometimes because maybe we want to ask the reader for their name, or better yet, we want to ask the reader for what the answer to the puzzle is, right? We want to have some sort of code, and this is how we can ask the reader to type in something. So that's kind of like the overview of designing, okay? So in order to code, we have to go to what is called the event graph side of the page. So there's a button at the top. You see it? It says event graph. You click on it. It flips it over to the back side of the page. And here is where we can code all of our interactions, our animations, using variables, etc. So this is where we want to be to code. Okay. So coding on elementary is very different from Scratch or code.org. I saw that we have Rohan does like Scratch, and I think Kendra, you said you were doing stuff on code.org. Okay. This is way more intense. So this is more open-ended. So this is going to challenge you to be creative a little bit. But don't worry, we haven't started coding yet, so chill. Like, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and it's easy. I guarantee it. Okay, so let's take a look at events. Events are here on the back side. They're orange. Okay, so events are orange. And anybody know what an event is in coding, or have an idea about what an event is? Yeah, Kendra, what's your idea? Oh. So something that happens to make something else happen is what Rohan says. Okay, so basically an event is when we want our code to run. Okay, so for example, we can click on something and then have our code run. We can make our code run when the page starts. So in my case, I like to always start with on page start because I want to show you something that's really cool. It's called the text effect block. So events are orange, and no matter what, we always need an event. If there's no event on the page, well, your code's not going anywhere. It's not going to play. You always need an event. So we're going to use on page start. It's the first one. And then let's go to functions. Okay, so what are functions then? Anyone have an idea about what functions are? You could type it in the chat as well. An action, very good. So functions are actions. They tell the computer what action to do. What action the object should do. And in our case, let's try the play text effect. So we have an event, we have a function, which is our action, it's the command. And the last thing we need is we need our object. So play text effect requires a text object. So text objects are all the text on the page. It could be the speech bubbles. Images are not text objects, they are image objects. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my text object, text one. So you're like, this doesn't look like Scratch, and that is correct because this does not use Blockly. So Blockly based coding is basically what Scratch and code.org uses. What we use is called node based visual programming, and you guys play like or heard of like Rocket League or Fortnite, maybe those type of games. Heard about them? Maybe once in a while. Okay, so those games are created by a game development engine called Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine also has a node-based visual programming environment. So if I type in like Unreal Engine Blueprint, what you'll see is like in the images, you'll see that there are blocks and you connect the blocks together like so. So we use a similar format. And let's try to connect our blocks together. So how do I connect my blocks together? So I have a white triangle here. And then where does it go? The white triangle goes to the white triangle. Okay, very good. We all graduated from, I don't know, first grade. And the purple circle goes to the purple circle. Yep, on the green box. So let's take a look at our code. It says on page start. Okay, what am I going to start? Well, I'm going to start the play text effect function on the text object called escape room. So I'm going to go ahead and press preview and let's see what happens. Do we see the typewriter effect? So if I were to change my text to something maybe longer, let's say the most amazing escape room, and we'll make it, you know, something like this, and I press preview, it'll have the same typewriter effect. So if you want to change the effect, you can do so. You can go ahead and make it fade. I can make it a little bit faster. And this is the basic coding of how to get, you know, your functions and your events to work together. Okay. So I don't really like the effect of, you see Ms. Kang is just like sitting here, just lonely all by itself, just chilling here. It's kind of weird. I want it to fade in after my play text effect. So we have a function called fade, and fade will basically, you can fade in something, so make it appear, and you can also fade out something, so you can make it, you know, fade out, appear, and then disappear. So I'm going to fade in. Fade in is the default, and I'm going to fade in Ms. Kang, and I want it to happen after play text effect. So what I want to do is called functions in sequence. So anybody know what a sequence is or heard about sequences? Yes, no, maybe so. It's an order of, so it's actually an order of functions in this case. So functions in sequence is an order of different actions that we're going to do. So a sequence is just an order. You can have a sequence in a story, a beginning, middle, of an end, and you can have a sequence in code. So how do I code it so I have my sequence? Okay, someone want to help me out? Actually, all three of you can have mouse control. Who wants to take over my mouse? You can type it in the chat. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Give me my mouse back. Thank you. So now when I preview it, let's take a look. Okay, so now we have my name fading in after the play text effect is done. And I can go ahead and, you know, give it a direction, so I can fade it into the top, things like that. So how do we make this a little bit more interesting? Well, the first step that we can do is maybe we can add some background music. What do you think? You want to learn how to add background music to your story? So if we want to add some background music, we go to the Sounds tab on the front side of the page on the Layout Design. You're going to go to the Music. Music is by default. And then I'm going to make sure I share my sound with you so you can hear things. And let's say, first of all, is this escape room going to be like creepy, or well, what's our setting for creepy? Was very quick. Any other opinions about what to do? A prison break? Okay. What do you think? You like that one? That one sounds creepy. Do we have other ones? Let's say, or you want something very epic? Some epic music? How do you what? Do you want epic music, creepy music? What kind of music? Do I have any more creepy music? Let's see. Maybe Spookville? Let's see what Spookville has. Oh, I already added it. Do you like this one better? You like the other one better? Okay, let's go with that one. Where is it? Oh, this is not... I can't find it anymore. Which one was it? Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. Okay. So, I'm going to go to the back side and I'm going to go ahead and grab the play music block, okay? So we have 3 sound blocks. There's play sound effect, play music, and play record sound, okay? So you have to make sure you grab the right one. If you grabbed a sound effect, you have to use the play sound effect block. We grabbed the background music, so we have to use the play music block. So if I want, when do I want my music to play? Yep, Kendra, when do I want it to play? Okay, so you want to play when after everything fades in. So the first thing I have to do is I have to select my music. So I click and I have to select the music. Okay. And then if I want it to play after everything, where do I put it? The end. Yeah, so you have a lot of places you can put it, but if we want it at the last step, we want to put it at the end. So when we look at our code, we look at it like a flow chart from left to right, and we just follow the arrows. So on page start, step 1, play the text effect. Step 2, fade. Step 3, play the horror suspenseful music. Okay. So I'm going to preview, and let's take a look at it now. Oh, it's not playing. Why is it not playing? Oh, there it is. It's because it's a little bit slow. Alright, so it plays after everything. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to get rid of my anime dude because I don't even know if we're going to use him. And I'm going to add a button. Like I said, buttons are in the widgets, so we're going to use them a lot. And whenever we have choices, we're going to use buttons for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a button. And you see my button, it has this really ugly green, and I don't want this ugly green. So I'm going to change the color. I can change the color and customize it by going to the top, the toolbar here, and I can go ahead and choose a different color. So the little paint box next to the eye is the italics, the little paint box. You can put a drop down and select a different color. What color do we want our buttons to be? Blue? Blue? Dark blue or light blue? What does creepy blue mean? Turquoise. Okay, is turquoise like this color? Close enough, right? I think this is more turquoise. All right, we're going to go with this. Okay, so this is going to be the color of all our buttons now. And I can also customize the corner radius if I want. So I can, you know, make it do this. So I have a really good question, which is, what does the button do? I didn't talk about what the button's going to do. So the button can do anything, but generally I like my buttons to navigate me to different pages. So I'm going to have a start button. Let's say. So I can have a start button, and let's go ahead and give it a different font because I can. Or we could go kind of they have a cool font, a creepy. What is up with you and what is up with you and creepy? Let's say this one's cool. I like this button. Okay. So you can style your font, whatever. We're gonna stick with ours. So in order to code it, I have to go to the back side again, and with buttons, generally I want to use what event? What do I want to do to buttons? Type it in the chat if you want. Yep, you want to click on buttons, okay? So whenever you have a button, generally you want to click on it. Very good. So we have a button. I'm going to click on it. And let's say I want to go to a different page. So I need to go grab the go to page block. And first of all, I need to add another page. I don't have a second page yet, so I have to add another page. I'm going to go back. Okay, so if you want to add a page, you can click on the plus page sign. You can also go here to the drop-down menu and select from one of these options for a different layout. And you can also duplicate the page. This copies the page and all of its code. So how do I connect my blocks together? Who wants to help me? Okay, Kendra, I'm giving you my mouse. There you go. You have my mouse. Connect the blocks. Okay, so very good. The purple circle goes to the purple circle because I'm going to click on the start button. And what am I going to do when I click on the start button? I'm going to go to a different page. And then I'm missing one last step, Kendra. What am I missing? Look at the page number. It says page 1. Am I going to page 1? Yeah, thank you, Nathan. Nathan's helping you out. Yeah, you want to go to page 2. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to take my mouse back. Give me my mouse back. Is there like a shortcut, like keyboard shortcut to get your mouse back? All right, Kendra, stop. There we go. Pretty sure there's a keyboard shortcut. I need to figure that out later. Anyway, so now if I preview, I can go to page 2. Okay, so that's kind of how I want to do it. So I personally don't, I like to have my music when the page starts. Like that. So this is how it would work if I want my music to run when the page starts. Okay, so let's take a look. It'll be like step 1, play text effect and the play music. Step 2, after the text effect is done, I'm going to fade in. And I'm going to do one last fade, and I'm going to fade in my my button actually. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. There we go. I can't connect. There we go. Okay. So if I preview, so we have a bit of a problem, and that's I can navigate by swiping, okay? So in this case, it doesn't really matter because my next page for my button is going to be page 2. But it might matter if, for example, you answer your puzzle for the escape room wrong and you go, I don't know, into the dungeon, or you get swallowed alive by a dragon or something, whatever we want. So we want to make sure that we lock our page so that the player is stuck on this page and they can't go anywhere unless they click on a button. So I'm going to show you that really quickly. And if you're overwhelmed, don't worry. We're just going to be repeating this over and over again later on. So I'm just going through things quickly so that way we can get to the more interesting things later on. Okay. Did not mean to open that. Okay, so on page start, I have a function called lock navigation next page and lock navigation previous page. Lock navigation next page just basically means that I am going to make it so that I don't go to the next page. And lock navigation previous page just means that I don't want to go to the previous page. If you don't want to think too much, like me, I just grab both of them and I just connect them. And that means I'm stuck on this page. Okay, so now when I preview, if I use the keyboard or if I swipe left or right, nothing happens. I don't go to the previous page or the next page. I'm stuck and I have to click on the button, start. Okay? So that's the idea. Okay, so we're gonna step it up a bit. And the thing that I want to ask you is, what is a variable? Have you heard about a variable before? Maybe in math, maybe in math. Okay, well, Rohan is like something that changes. Yes, the value for a variable can change. So a variable is a container and it holds a value. Okay, so in math, the container is X or Y and it holds a value, which is usually a number. Like if X is equal to 2. X is the variable. It holds a value. And in this case, X can be 2. But we can change it up and say 3 or 4, whatever number we want. Okay, so any of you guys play like role-playing games maybe? Where like Pokemon or maybe Stardew Valley, Roblox. So in a lot of games, you know, you have a little entry scene where you have to enter in your name. So like if you're playing Pokemon, we'd be like, oh yes, my name is Professor blah, blah, blah. I can never remember your name. What was your name again? And then you have to type in your name. And then for the rest of the game, it uses your name, right? So that is an example of a variable. Yes, Nathan? You're going to say something? Okay, so we're going to try to do that ourselves. And so we're going to go ahead and grab a text field. So when we grab a text field, this is an input field. That means that people, the reader or the player, can go ahead and type in whatever they want inside of it. That's basically what it does. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say, what is your name? Okay, you can ask them whatever you want. In our case, we're going to ask them for their name because we want this to be a little bit more immersive. Yes, Kendra, you have a question? Yep. So at the end, I will publish it, and then you can play it. You can remix it, just like with Scratch. So you can take a copy of it and do your own thing. We'll take a look at some other stories that some kids have made. And about after we finish this, we'll take a little bit of a break because this is a little bit more intense. So get your brains on, and we're gonna go to variables. So functions. We took a look at a lot of functions. They're the actions. Variables are our containers. They hold a value. On elementary, there are 3 types of variables. So we have text variables, which hold text data. This is your name. It can be a password. It's just any text object. And text objects can also include numbers. So it could be like 1, 2, 3 bunny. That can be used for the text variable. The second thing is Boolean variables. Ever heard of that word Boolean before? It's a funny word. You guys heard about Boolean variables before? Maybe not. I don't think Scratch deals with data types. So you might not be familiar with Boolean variables unless you're more into electronics. So Boolean variables are special because they can only hold true or false values. Yep, you can make people move. We can make some people move. It's under functions. There's a block called move, and there's a block called move to. And you can make them move, rotate, bounce, flip them, do whatever you want with them. You can make them bounce forever, things like that. So we can take a look at that. Okay, and the last one is number variables. So number variables are pretty cool because you can use a random number. You can increment. So there's a game that uses increment called a YouTuber Simulator. We'll take a look at that after we do this example. Okay, so We're going to be focusing on text variables today. So the first thing with a variable is we have to create it. It needs to exist. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this block over. It says create text variable. I'm going to click on it and it says my variable. Well, that's not very descriptive. I'm asking the player for their name. So I'm going to just call it name. Okay. So you typically want your variable name to be related to whatever you're asking them for. So if you're asking them for their age or what their favorite color is, you might want to say the variable name is called age or color, favorite color. Okay, so I created my variable, but my variable name, currently the value is nothing. There's no value for it. We have to set the value. So there's a special event for text inputs. It's called onTextInput. And this is basically saying that every time someone types in something, presses the enter or leaves the input field, then it triggers. So let's say I'm going to type, and if I exit, boom, onTextInput will trigger. And then whatever we do, we can set whatever functions we want afterwards or whatever we want to do. So we need our text field here. And the last thing that we need is in our variables, we have a variable equals text object. So variable equals text object is basically asking for a variable. So we only have one right now. It's name. And we're going to set this variable equal to a text object. So text objects can be text fields. It can be speech bubbles, but generally we want to focus on the text field. Okay, so can we connect our blocks together? How do we do it? I have 3 blocks. How do I connect my blocks together? Okay, Kendra is like, me. Okay, go. Oh, Rohan, let's go with you because Kendra did it last time. Okay. Yep. And that's it. Perfect. So now the big question is, okay, well, I set my variable. It has a value now, but how do I see it here? Okay, how do I see it here? So we use what's called a variable template syntax. That's just a fancy way of saying we use mustaches or some sort of notation to determine what the variable is. So this is called a curly bracket, also known as a mustache. And yes, mustache is a technical term. There is a JavaScript library called mustache.js, and it's a technical term. So you can call it. Don't. It's not serious coding. So this is called mustache, and it's a templating. And if you use like let's say you go into like marketing and you want to send like 1 billion emails, you'll use something similar to this, and you'll say like, hello name, I saw that you were, you use mustaches to send emails, because then when you send emails to like 1 billion people, you're not going to send them individually. Is there a way for people to actually talk? That's my question. So you mean to animate them to talk or to have a voiceover talking? Let me know. Okay. So I'm just going to say hello name, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so we need the mustache, and it needs to match exactly. Oh, with voice? Yes, that's easy. So you could do both, actually. You can make this girl actually like physically talk, and you can record a voiceover using the record voiceover button. So there's a button here. It'll open up a dialogue. You can record yourself, trim it, and then play a voiceover when you click on something. Okay, so I'm going to preview this, and let's take a look. Let's see if it wants to preview for me. Sometimes it's, there we go. So, what is your name? So, give me a name. I'm going to say Kendra. Hello, Kendra. And if I say Rohan. hello, Rohan. If I say Nathan, it'll say, hello, Nathan. So it'll replace name with whatever value I type in here. And if I say like, Fluffy is a monster, it'll say, hello, Fluffy is a monster. So you kind of get the picture. Okay. So I like using this a lot because I think most games kind of ask you who you are, like what your character works. So your thing doesn't work. Did you make sure that you selected name from the drop down? Make sure to select name. Make sure you called it name here. Well, if you called it name here, it would select here as name. And you have to add the mustaches. If you just put hello without the name, it won't work because this will be a string. So if I say hello name, it'll actually say hello name. It'll just say this. Okay, let's take a look. Do you want to maybe, let's see. Can you share your screen with me maybe? Or you want to take a picture and show me and then I can see? You can send it to me. Find a way to do it. I don't know how. Let's see. Can I allow you to share a screen? I'm not even sure. Okay. There you go. If you want to share, you can share. Otherwise, you could try to take a picture. Okay, let me take a look at the back. It looks right. Ah, so this is this is where you can see computers are really stupid. Okay, so notice that when you put name, you capitalized it, and then you didn't capitalize it in the front. So it has to match exactly. So if you capitalize your variable name, you have to capitalize it also when you declare it in the front side. Does that make sense? Yeah, computers are stupid. So, yep, that's it. So make sure you just lowercase it or put uppercase in the front. So then it should work. Let me know, okay? So yeah, it needs to match exactly. And it doesn't matter if you have a space here or not a space. It doesn't really matter. So, does it work now? Yay, it worked. Okay, so now you can ask the player for the name. So, let's take a really quick break and I'm going to show you some examples of why we spent time on this and why it's important to understand variables, because you could do some really cool stuff. So the first one I want to show you, this one's done by a 6th grader. She was in my coding club before, and now she's like making a whole bunch of stories. Let's see. You have things I've forgotten. So this one's an easier one. This one's not an escape room. It's just a story. So you have, oh, this is you. All right, so what do we name this girl? What does this girl look like? Yeah, Kendra, you have a girl name for me? Or a boy name? Wave? Like that? Her name is Wave? Bubbalina. I like Bubbalina. Bubbalina. My name is Bubbalina. Hey, Bubbalina. And then you can say, who's Bubbalina? Oh, you're talking to me. So you can vote in the chat 1 or 2. What do you want to answer with? 1, 2. Do we have a tie break? Okay, we're going to go with 1. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, I get it. Haha, very funny. Okay, 1 or 2. Okay, I see 1, 1, 1. Oh my gosh, what is your problem? You said we were friends. Okay. Well, I can't see anymore because, okay, go. Q, I need to type. Q3, 3, sorry. Try again. 2. 1, 1. Okay, we go with 1. 4, oh, go. So you're not joking? Do you really not remember anything? 1, 2. Tiebreaker, 2. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, Bubbalina. I didn't realize you were for real. I'm Addison. You always called me Addie, though. Okay, Q5, let's go. 1. Oh, we all like Addie. Nathan doesn't like Addie. So in this case, you can see we just used the go to page block to go to different pages depending upon our choices. And at the very beginning, you were asked a question of what was your name. So this is a very, very simple example with just using the variable, text variable. So I want to show you the next step up is, there we go, this one. So this is a Mad Lib story. You can actually, I'm going to put it in the chat, and you guys can remix it if you want. So here we have the same thing that we just did, but with multiple input fields. So give me a name. Whatever name I see first in the chat gets put up. What's your name? Johnny. Hey, what's Johnny's favorite animal? A cat. I like cats too. I have a cat. A meerkat. So what's your best friend's name? Give me another name. Nathan. Okay. Oh dear, Johnny is such a nice name. I recently got a new pet. What do you think? Give me 3 adjectives. Go. Isn't her pet really cute? Jump is not an adjective. That is a verb. Jumpy is a verb, is an adjective. All right, hairy. Ugly. Another adjective, please. Adjectives describe something. Pumpkin-y. What's pumpkin-y? Fatty. He's a fatty. Okay. Like this. Ready. He looks like a pumpkin. I guess so. He kind of looks more like an apple in my opinion. Anyway, let's go. Now let's get comfortable. What would you like to eat, dear? So let's choose a snack. What snack do we want? Donut, cookie. I like cookies. We're going to go with cookies. So now we have everything kind of replaced. We have multiple variables. These variables have the values that we've typed in. And now we have a story that says something like, one day there was a creature who lived in an abandoned lab. This creature was called Nathan. That's right, just like your friend. Nathan was a hairy sort of thing who liked to pretend to be an ugly cat. Every day, Nathan would eat a fatty cookie before going to dwell in the hidden depths of the abandoned lab. So there we go. What a pumpkin-y cookie. Nathan is it's not you, it's this other Nathan, okay? Can I say I didn't know? Okay, so this is kind of like, we're kind of doing step 1. So step 1 is understanding our variables. Now, how do we use variables? And we can create stories like this. So step 2 then is, how do we create an escape room? Because that's what we're here for, right? How do we make one? So let's go ahead and take a look at this example, if I can get it to play right. There we go. Okay, so this was a Halloween escape room we did way back whenever Halloween was coming around. And we have a couple of puzzles. So these are also just some puzzle ideas that you can think of to add to your escape room while we're still learning a little bit about elementary. And I need water. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press the puzzle. So you see this is puzzle 1 is false, puzzle 2 is false. These are Boolean values. They're true or false values. And let's take a look at puzzle 1. You see it's kind of glowing. I can click on them. So I'm going to click on the guy. And what's the password? Okay, so I have spooky. Or let's try Posoki. How do you even get Posoki in the first place with 2 Ks? Yeah. Yeah, you just died. So let's try Spooky. And so Nathan now got it correct. So puzzle 1 is now true. It's no longer false. And we have a second puzzle here. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at this puzzle now. And what's the answer to this puzzle? This one's tricky. I like giving this puzzle because most people can't get it until I give them a really big hint. Okay. They're like, it's candy, of course. Aren't you stupid? And it's like, nope, nope, nope. You just got dragged away by the monsters. That's right. You thought it was candy, but it wasn't candy. So this is kind of like, think a little bit related to candies. Dancy. We could try Dancy. Oh, you got dragged away by the monsters. Okay. I'm going to give you a really big hint, okay? So it has to do with candy. And I want you to take a look at the images on this page. And you could go ahead and give me as many answers as you want. I'll type them in. Corn? Nope. It's not corn. Are you ready for the... Do you guys give up? Or you guys want to try a bit longer? Nope, it's not cadney. Guys give up? Do you have an idea? Okay, let me give you a really big hint. It's not letters. And yep, it's 6. So now that you have both puzzles that are true now, a button appears. So Nathan's asking how, and that's because we have 6 candies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, okay. So now the button appears. It didn't appear before because we didn't answer both puzzles correctly. The letters are just to, yeah, it's not really there for anything. It's just to help you, I guess, to know that you're supposed to look at the candy. And now I can exit the house. And I have a treasure chest here, and I don't know if you remember, but there was a key at the very beginning of the puzzle. If you picked up the key, you can open up the treasure chest. But since I didn't pick it up, I can't open it. So if I go back to the beginning and I start, you notice there's a key here. If I click on it, I can make it disappear. And I say it's spooky. I do 6. I can exit the house, and now I have a treasure chest, and when I click on it, I can change the image, and there you go. So if you want to take a look at this one, I'm going to also put it in the chat for you guys. You could take a look and remix it to see how it works. But we're going to go back to our story and figure out how we can do a conditional. So remember, in this case, we asked for the name, but what if we want to ask for the code and we want to compare it to a right, or maybe we want to have a different response depending upon the name. Okay, so let's try that. So how about, let's say if the user types in, let's say like Nathan is like our correct response, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab compare text. It's in our logic. So we took a look at variables, and logic are our conditionals. So conditionals are basically if else statements. So for example, if the reader types in Nathan, then I want, a sound effect to happen. Or then I want to say, hooray, my name is also Nathan, whatever. Otherwise, I want to say something else. So let's go ahead and, actually, no, we're going to make it Nicole. So if the name, we're going to compare it with Nicole. Remember, it has to be exactly the same case. It's case sensitive. So if you put a capital, it needs to be a capital. If you put lowercase, it will be a lowercase because computers are stupid. So that's just how it works. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to compare, and then notice I have an exact, includes, and else. So exact is basically I want to connect whatever I want for if it equals exactly Nicole. Let's say if it equals exactly Nicole, I want to say like something like, let me go ahead and grab a cat because I like cats. There you go. I grab a cat. He's kind of cute. Gonna flip him around. My name is Nicole too. And if you get it, if it's not Nicole, then I can say hello name. And this is a really hard font to read. Yeah, I need the mustache. So there we go. Okay. So what I could do then is I can say I'm going to fade in my name is Nicole too. My name is Nicole too, if it's exactly correct. And if it's not, I'm going to fade in, let's say, hello name. And let's see if it works. So if you need more space, you can go full screen as well to have more space to code. You can also zoom out or zoom in, depending upon if you need the zoom or not. And this is what it looks like. So let me just put it kind of all on one page so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So if you want to take a picture about what this looks like for your own code, you could do so. And basically here would be our answer that we're comparing against. The value that we're comparing against. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the preview and let's take a look. So if I say, what is your name? If I say Nicole, my name is Nicole too appears. If I go back and if I say Fluffy, it'll say, hello, Fluffy. Okay, so this is an example. Generally, in escape rooms, instead of using fades, we'll want to use a go-to page and direct the reader to a different page. So this is what we'll generally want to do, is like, if it's wrong, then you get sent to the dungeon page. If it's right, you can continue. So that would be how it would work for an escape room. Okay, so anybody have any questions at this time? This is your chance to ask any questions about anything. And no questions, everything's crystal clear. Okay, great. So the other thing that's pretty fun is, where is it? Maybe this one? This one? I don't know. You have some other ones that you can take a look at. Right now, I'm actually creating an escape room for the Digital Citizenship Conference or something like that. And in mine, this is the beginning so far. You could take a look to kind of give you some inspiration. So welcome to Cyber School, where students learn how to be a secret agent in the cyber world. Wait a minute. Which student were you again? So are you a boy or are you a girl? You're a boy? Ah, that's kind of weird. Why is it doing strange things? Alright, let's try going on this page. I don't know what's going on with the preview. There we go. Boy, girl. Ah, yes, Michael, was it? Or... Do you see that? It's like, maybe I should refresh. Sometimes when things don't go well, you just refresh the page and then it'll get fixed. That's what I've noticed. Okay, let's see if the pages like me better now. Ah, there we go. Ah, yes, Michael. Or was it Daniel? That was your name, no? What? I got it wrong. What was your name again? Your name's Michael? Hello, Michael. It was just another day after school. You realized that your assignment is due tomorrow. Oh no. Where was your USB again? Plug it into the computer. So you have an idea about where it is? So you can make things draggable. And it's behind the cat. What? Yeah, the cat was sitting on it. So then you have to go ahead and drag. So there's an event called on drag over. So like for example, if I drag it over, then my functions start. So then I'm sucked inside the computer and yeah, I find myself in what seems to be a maze, a dungeon, and there we go. So you have different things and you'll have at some point, so like I said here, you have buttons. These are buttons. We took a look at them before. And depending on the buttons, I'll go to a different page. And then, like this is my answer. So in my case, I just made my buttons my answer, but you can also make it once again, like before I said, where you have the input field as your answer. So those are just some ideas for you to get started with. So we cover like, I think the very basics of creating an escape room. So if we come in next week, then we can actually go ahead and come up with a story and figuring out what kind of puzzles to put in, because at least the coding base is set. Does that make sense? Awesome. So then that's it from me, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay? Okay. Bye, guys.